So remember on page 1 that we talked about that the staff is sometimes the worst vulnerability that we have? Because most of the time it's going to be an unintentional threat. And that's when there's not exactly a perpetrator, it's done by a natural event or an honest human error, some type of accident. It happens. Now, there's different types of unintentional threats, and the human one is definitely going to be one of them, but I'm going to talk about that here in a moment. But you also have environmental, whereas weather, or earthquakes, COVID, that type of stuff, that's going to be an unintentional threat that you have to think about as you're going through this. For those companies that are in hurricane or tornado alley here in the States, there's things you have to think about. My brother lives out in California. He has to think about earthquakes, well, quite often. So environmental is definitely one part. The other part is just accidents. If you have a fire or somebody cuts cables or something of that nature, what's your backup plan? That is a threat. It's unintentional, but it is a threat. And then you have failures. I just went through an equipment failure. It happens all the time, and that's an unintentional threat, obviously. To the human part, though, there's two different types. There's negligence, and then there's accidental. Take a look at the list that I have for you here, but on the unintentional, we know what unintentional is now, but they can be broken up into two by the negligence and accidental. In accidental, it's usually something where we have a mistaken causes for an unintended risk to an organization. So what do I mean by that? Mistyping an email and accidentally sending a sensitive business document to a competitor. That'd be pretty bad. But notice, it was completely accidental. There was an extra character. Let's look at another one. Unknowingly or inadvertently clicking on a hyperlink. That is accidental. Now, negligence, there's just, hey, I knew this was could be a threat, but I kind of ignored it. Like misplacing or losing a portable storage device that had data on there. Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad. So notice it's a little bit more thinking, or lack of thinking, that you already had something that you knew that should be secure, but you let it get away. That's the negligence part of this. Now, how do we how do we manage all of this? Well, you have to think about it, first of all, when we're doing any type of risk management plan, because is there somebody that's going to do something negligent? Yes, there is. Do not live in a world where it's going to happen. How do we tackle that? So we have to survey and determine any mitigation that we would need in possible environmental threats, like maybe have a different alternative site, maybe do cloud services instead, so it's not just one location. Reducing human errors, automate and validate data entry, that would be this one for the email address or something like that. Also that we talk about a little bit more is doing training on people. What to look out for and what not to do. If you put in a policy or something of that nature, you're telling them right off the bat, hey, I don't want you losing a portable storage device. Or if you do, what do you need to do? That policy and procedure needs to be put into place. Preventing accidents by due diligence, and avoiding failures with redundant systems using RAID, and that's all mechanical stuff, which I used to do many, many years ago. But anyway, so these are the unintentional threats, but these are just the human aspect of it that we have here, which again is really where most of the problems come from.